Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
2 regular members, and we'll have 2 alternates that will become voting members today. So let's do a round of introductions. So Mark Layton, I'm the chair of the committee.
Don Bristleton, a member.
Tim Willis, an alternate.
Dan Chartrand, Select Board Rep to Facilities Advisory.
And Carol Olmsted, alternate.
Great. Okay. So the agenda is pretty short today, but I think we got some good things to do. So we don't have any past meeting minutes to review. So that's on me. I'll get those out for December and our first meeting in January. Get those to you guys. Police station, fire station, I had as a TBD. We had a really good meeting with Corey a couple weeks ago. He gave us a great update. Dan, I don't know if there's anything you want to add. If there's anything that's worthwhile to add on.
We haven't gotten an update since that meeting. Okay. So it's been a pretty short amount of time since our previous meeting.
I was at the planning board meeting on Thursday, and Corey and Liz were there with Paul Vlasic. Yep. They presented an update to the planning board. So
it was fairly similar to what we heard, right?
Yes, it was. It was just they're on site. They did find a lot of large rocks and some ledge. So the approach that Corey mentioned, it seems like it made a lot of sense. But it was good. They did a good job presenting to the board and providing background and an update on where they started and where they are.
And the approach you're talking about is the kind of fixed price approach. No matter what they discover, it's the price
for the site work. Yeah, and then they talked about the history of where they were with estimating and then getting it down to what you can afford and how they did that, shrinking the building, bare bones approach, things that could be added later, like the carport not carport, but the covering for the vehicles. Things like that for the solar panels and stuff. So they did a good job, and whoever watched that, I think, got a really good update on the approach.
Yeah, it's on the video. I watched the video today. It's a good presentation.
Yep, great. Paula talked through the stormwater design and things like that, so it was good. So we don't have any more there. So next is the Exeter Public Library. So Don, you have an update?
Well, yes, as you will recall, this was before you were here, but the director, Julia Lander, came over 2 meetings ago, I believe it was, and spent some time with us in December and told us about the situation that they have and talking about some long-range planning. And since I'm a daily user over there, I thought, well, maybe it'd be helpful if I just contacted Julia. And we had a meeting last week for an hour, just trying to understand what's going on and see what could be helpful. As you look at the library, as you see it there, that's basically the 87 building. That's when it was completed, 1987. And then in 21, there was an addition, about $1.5 million, I forget this figure, but close to that. But it was largely a space addition. The verticality of systems was not complete. So you have the original building, and on top of this was the space addition. And Julia provided copies to us of the Resilient Energy Building Commissioning report. And we started to go through that, but it's going to take a number of meetings for us to really, for myself, to really understand that. But if you think of it in this terms, you have the original 87 building, and then there was this addition, largely space, but some mechanical systems in order to make the space work, but not a complete replacement of the mechanical systems. They were add-ons. So you're adding on to an 87 with a 2021 addition to it. So if you think about it, it's sort of 3 groups. One, problems they may be having with the original building from 87, problems they may be having with the new building, that because all of the items in the commission report have not been completed. And then the third category would be those problems that transcend both, that are a mixture of the new and the old. And if you go through that horizontally, you think of, well, what are the highest, most difficult problems, the most pending ones? What are the more immediate range? Then what's low grade? Low grade may be such things as just paperwork that comes out of the commissioning report that we may or may never complete. But at the top of the list is the fire suppression system. And They had two valves, header valves that had failed, and they had to replace them. And the select board at the last meeting was gracious enough and understanding enough to provide about $8,500 in funding to replace these, they've been actually replaced, but pay for the bills for these two items. So that gives you an indication of the level of problems. The other one that would be high level is just the HVAC system. HVAC is a mixture of old and new. They're having problems with it. They do have a contractor in their Dowley who's working very well with them. So this is a situation I hope to meet with her monthly and come back and give you an update of where we are, see what we can do to sort of help, just from an experience standpoint. I'm very impressed with the way Julia and the staff have grabbed this building, and they're not waiting for somebody else to come in the door and say, let's do it this way. They're getting their hands around these problems and they're working them through. As an example, it's a simple example, but it gives you a feeling of where they're going. They have an overall budget that's quite large for operation and maintenance of the building, but recognizing that they need to conserve, the staff is actually doing a good amount of the housekeeping.
Wow.
In their areas.
The cleaning and
In their
stuff like
areas
that.
where they have an area, they take care of the area.
Wow.
Just to help out. So I think as we go forward, we will find, and let me just skip back a minute. In the commissioning report, there is a meeting coming up that Julia's arranging through Resilient Buildings to have the architect, Resilient Buildings, train, and a good sit-down meeting where we will go through this report, an updated report that Resilient Energy is doing. That will be a good step. She's also going out for bids for the sprinkler system or the fire suppression system. It had a couple leaks in it. It's got some problems. She's getting some quotes in order to, they're supposed to do a 3-year eval and testing of the system. And so she's going to get quotes on that. That's in her budget, she hopes, and she'll be able to go forward with that. So I hope to come back to this meeting maybe once a month and give you an update on just substantial progress, piece by piece by piece, that they're making.
Don, just real quick, the meeting that's coming up, that was with Resilient Buildings.
Resilient Buildings Group, RBG.
Train and architect.
And the architect.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think they're heading in the right direction, and I think good things will come out of this. That's sort of the now. The future is, they're beginning to realize, and Julia hinted at this when she was here, that they're going to be back here sometime in the future, months, maybe a year, with asking us for help in defining a major building upgrade project. The doors have to be replaced, the elevator's going to need replaced. Out of this work that we're doing, is I think you're going to get your hands on, we're going to get your hands on the fire suppression system, probably a full replacement, and HVAC upgrades. It's going to be a large project, and it's going to have to go warrant, and all the projects, like the other projects that we do, and I think that we could be very helpful in helping her get to where they need to go. So I came away positive of what's happening at our library. Though one other item, there is a warrant this year, I think it's number 19, for $25,000. They want to start having a major maintenance fund that will grow over time.
Yeah.
So they won't have to come to the planning board or the select board for assistance. Not spend it each year, bank it and let it grow. So I hope that will get passed by the citizens.
Is that 25,000 a year?
This is just 1 year, they'll have
just
to come
1
back
year.
each year with that to make it grow.
Okay. So it's just a one-time 25,000 set
Yes, and
aside.
hopefully that will
It'll be
continue.
annual.
Yeah,
Okay, so it'll be added, so annually 25,000 goes into this
That's the plan.
revolving fund or whatever they
Yeah,
call that.
exactly.
So,
So could I jump in with
course, yeah.
3 things? First of all, it's great that you're a library user and a member of this committee and you're digging in
Yeah.
to help Julia and encourage hers and the trustees' focus on really digging in on the building systems. I was disappointed that the 21 thing we did was all about more space and not so much those systems. And that's what happened. That's in the past.
Yeah.
I think Julia, as the new leader, paid staff leader of the library, has the systems firmly in her sights because it's dogging them, and it has been dogging them for a long time.
Yes.
And when she was second in command, she saw that very clearly. So lots of kudos to her for really digging in on that and making that her focus. You can't build until you have a solid foundation, and I think she understands that. So getting in on those systems with your help, that gives me a lot of hope. The third thing is I want to thank Corey Stevens, our finance director, and Melissa, our interim town manager. They're the ones that found the money
Yes.
that allowed us to say yes,
Yes.
On Tuesday night, the 20th. Those are my three things. But thank you for jumping in and helping them to really get the systems in their focus and prioritize that.
Yes, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, this month or next month. It's going to be, but they're getting their hands around it.
Yeah.
I was pleased with what I heard. Yeah.
That makes me hopeful.
So I think we talked about this with her, but it seems like is really going through the building completely and doing almost a condition assessment, identifying, because it was not a part of the original list, right? Original buildings that we did. So it's really adding that building to the database and having this comprehensive assessment done.
Yeah,
From the old building and the addition.
right. And I think the first priority is exactly this: is to get our hands around what's going on, what needs to be changed, maintenance, improved maintenance, replacements in some cases, and then from that developing the scope of a larger project
Right.
that comes back and addresses many of the systems from '87.
Didn't Julia talk about updating the strategic plan too for the library, or did I?
Yes, that's
Okay.
the trustees are calling it a long-range plan.
Long-range
Part of the
plan.
long-range plan is the building side of it. Yes.
What about space and programs? and
I
stuff?
don't know that we didn't talk about,
Okay.
but I think that's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, as we've noted before, it's important to understand the deficiencies of the building. But if they are planning to do internal changes like space changes, then that's important to know too.
Yeah. Yes.
If we're planning a large renovation or system upgrades. Okay.
And as we know, and I'm sure the public knows, is the library has its own board of trustees. And so,
It's entirely separate governance from the rest of the town's municipal operation.
so I think compliments to the board for recognizing that there's a situation here and it needs to be addressed.
Yeah, we were clear that going forward, we thought that, hopefully the citizens endorse the idea of $25,000 in a fund each year, and that's going to be the source of solving her, problems like the one she was coming to us with.
For clarity, will that have to be a warrant each year?
I would assume so.
Yes, that's what's my understanding.
I
yes.
assume so, because but I may be wrong about that. So the question would be, is it a separate warrant each year, or does it get folded into the budget?
That's right.
I don't know the answer to that, but I would assume it's a separate warrant
Yeah,
each year
that was my understanding.
because of the governance
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Anyway,
It's good.
it's great that you're working with them, Don.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
It's a pleasure. Glad to do it.
I mean, it's a big building and it's a huge asset for the town. So I mean, it's not going away, right? So we got to do as Julie said.
So often my daily routine is I go over and inspect the Academy Library, and then I call Mark. Then I come over to this library and I talk to Julia.
And then on the way home,
Yeah,
we stop
well.
at the bookstore.
As Don knows, we have our own issues with our library. That's been ongoing for 20 years.
Which is a World Architecture Heritage Site.
Oh yeah, but,
With some design.
makes it even worse.
With its own design
Yeah,
issues.
yeah,
Louis.
yeah. Yeah, he had a vision, but vision didn't match trying to maintain the building and trying to renew the building. So,
Right.
All right, that's great.
Thank you.
Any other questions on our library, town library? Okay, so then next was the space needs assessment. So we have a draft RFP, thanks to Carol.
Yeah.
And it's really good. So,
Well, thank you.
I-
But I must admit, the RFP from Concord helped have
Give
a
you
foundation,
that,
yeah, on that. So that helped kind of put a framework to it.
All the greatest writers work from other writers' models.
Intellectual piracy. And it is in the public domain, yes, but it's not verbatim, so
I'm guessing Concord probably had another RFP that they used.
Well,
so.
and it seemed like and I don't know how Exeter does this, but do they have a purchasing department there? And they probably have a legal department, because it sounded like there's a lot of legal language, even though it's not a legal document.
Oh, in Concord?
Yeah, in Concord.
sure.
Yeah.
Being a city.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's where some of the general language came from, is the terminology that they used.
Do you want to just walk us through? I mean, some of the things the town will have to answer because of what you're saying. So.
Yeah, exactly. And so I tried the best that I could from the information that you provided, and the Keegan study and some of the other things that are online provided information that I used and absorbed in here for the specific information. But I really was directionally, is this the way you were looking for it to go? And then specifically, what specific information we need to do to get this, I would say, finalized and, for approval. So my question for you is, when do you want a final?
Well, that's for this.
Committee?
Well, so officially, I mean, the budget gets approved in March. It's a
Right.
calendar year budget, so you guys are already operating
Yes.
with
Right.
dollars.
Yes.
So I think.
It's a wonderful system.
I was just curious, I read that, you run on a calendar year,
Yep.
but you don't approve it till March.
It's SB2.
Okay.
It's our form of government.
Okay,
It's the upside is everyone gets to play. All
Okay.
voters get to vote. The downside is that there's that 3-month lag,
Mm-hmm.
and all decisions for, including water and sewer, it's like over $40 million now. All decisions can only happen once a year.
once a year, got it.
Which I can't think of any other 40 million plus operation that does things that way.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Okay.
That's how
Thank
we
you.
roll.
Okay, thank you.
I think we talked about trying to get this to the town, which the town's staffing is pretty lean right now, in February. And then I think it's, getting it out and at some point in the March, April timeframe, potentially selecting a person to work with and working through.
And remind me, the funding is secured for this?
It's in the $100,000 maintenance fund that you have, right? So
Thank you.
the budget we had talked about was $50,000. So in reality, the money's there, I think, because you guys every year have $100,000, right? So even in March, if the vote fails, you go back to last year's budget plus.
Well, I think last year's was encumbered, so.
But you still have a budget of $100,000 though, right?
From this past year.
Yeah,
Which
so
they
it's-
haven't really been able to use,
Yeah.
because they've been so short-staffed.
And is it included in the CIP? I was kind of briefly going through
No.
the CIP. It's,
So we don't have anything in the CIP right now for this.
It's
Yeah, we don't need to because it's coming
okay,
out of
This
their
one,
operating
not
budget.
this one.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That was the way that, because they have funding in their budget that they can use, that it doesn't require to go out to the warrant. It doesn't warrant article.
So, based on your good work, refinements will come along, but Dan, who in the town of Exeter offices should review this?
Yeah.
I think you should probably let both Nico, the chair of the select board, and Melissa, our interim town manager, know that we're pretty close to having it where we want it
Yeah,
and what's next.
yeah,
And leave it up to them to, they'll need to vet it probably
yeah.
with our legal.
So, yes, and there's been many RFPs that come out of here, so I think that they would look at it and say, well, we need to should add this, but we don't need that.
Okay,
And-
yeah,
Right.
okay,
Like you said, one of the purchasing or procurement side that they
Yeah.
do.
yeah.
Normally it was Dave that he would take care of that stuff. So do you want me, after we get it to a point where we feel like it's ready to go to the town, you want me to send it to Melissa? and ask her, okay.
So, okay.
I think that's correct, and
Yeah.
I will double check with Nico.
Okay.
And if that's not correct, I'll let you know.
So in summary, once we have our comments from today and the comments I received by Friday, I'll put all those together for one final review.
Yeah, and I don't have any comments. I think it's
Oh,
fantastic.
well, thank you. And then it goes to you?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can just,
We can do a timeline on that when we get through this.
yeah, I would just
Okay.
send it to say, I would just say this is a draft RFP that,
Okay.
and that, it's in the town to.
Okay.
I've looked through it several times, but I'll look through it again and then get some comments to you if I
Okay,
have
perfect.
any.
I love that. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Can I just bring up a few hearings for
Absolutely,
discussion? So
absolutely.
it was, one question that I had, it's on page 1, 2, 3. You have the budget for the assessment is not to exceed 50,000. My question, I guess, and maybe this is more for the town, should that be included? Do you normally include that statement in the RFPs?
That would be a great question
Yeah.
for.
One thing I would say, Concord had it in
They
theirs.
did?
They had it at 250,000. Theirs was very robust.
Yeah.
And, it's on the discretion of whether you want it or not. But it does give bidders an idea of what
Does.
your budget is.
It does,
So,
yeah.
and
True.
it gives them the scale on what you're gonna do. Because they will come back with very nice bids and it's maybe like, oh my gosh, we didn't want all this
True.
type of thing.
I
It's
think-
just something to think about.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think when we did the FCA, I think that there was a budget number that was in that too.
put that
It
in.
made sense to me when I
It's good
saw
for
it.
my team.
Yeah, like you said, to give them some guideposts, I guess, there. Under scope of services, you had, again, these are questions for this committee, so you had Parks and Recreation included in, as far as the administration and service departments. We did not include the new building that they're going in. So my question, should we include them as part of this space planning study?
Well, we want Court Street to be part of it, their old building.
Yes, the old
And
building.
is that Public Works?
That is 30 Court Street.
30 Court Street was the old headquarters
Yeah.
of Parks and Rec. They just
Okay, yeah.
They just.
And it's now an activity center, is that correct?
Well,
That's what I
I
have.
think it's kind of lying fallow at the moment, right?
I'm not sure. How
I
are
would
you
just
guys?
say, I just describe it either as 30 Court Street or former.
Oh, yeah.
Former Parks and Rec building.
Or
Yeah.
maybe describe both.
Okay, because I have it listed as a Parks and Rec building here. And then utilization is what I read, it was activity center, but if we want to change it to something else, I can.
I guess, you know what, I would leave it, and that would be
Okay.
a question for the town to.
To town, okay.
Yeah, so what,
Maybe flag it for a comment.
yeah, what I liked about how this is structured is that you have the scope of services, right? And then you talk about that these are the following administrative and service departments that are going to be interviewed and analyzed. And then these are the buildings that are available for use, right?
Yeah,
I guess that would just be, my question is that Parks and Rec is pretty much they are in their new building.
Yeah, we don't need to evaluate that, right?
Yeah, or interview their department. Right?
Yes.
So
No, I agree.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so it just came
so
up.
remove them,
Yep,
okay?
yep.
Parks and Rec is out.
And you had, all these made sense to me. You had basically all the departments in this building, next door, and Public Works.
Public Works.
That's great. And there is a media communications, right?
What about the fire department because of the current public safety building? Do we want to get an evaluation on that, or is that separate?
So it's included.
The
As a
building's
building.
included,
Yeah,
but the number of people, my assumption was not, because they're going to be relocated into the new facility, correct?
Not the fire department. The fire department's staying in the current public safety facility.
Oh,
Yeah.
they are the new.
Yeah.
There's going to be a substation in the new,
Right, okay,
but not, the main part of the department is staying in Court Street.
okay.
So that should be reflected in that.
yeah.
And we
That's-
should
okay.
include the current public safety building in the assessment, I think.
Yeah,
That was always the plan.
You had that on the next page, Carol?
Yeah, that's where I wanted that, because that's where I had that clarification on that.
Yeah.
Because basically my simple mind in our conversation, what I saw on site, on the, online, was I took that and I read it as the police and fire department. But you're saying the police are moving into the new place. but
They're
only-
leaving the current public safety completely and relocating to the new one.
Okay,
And
on 20 Court Street?
they're leaving 20 Court.
Okay,
And they're
okay,
moving to the new one.
right,
And then the fire department is moving one sort of unit
got it,
to the new substation at the new public safety.
okay.
But the rest of the fire department will remain in its current location. So that, yeah, that's complex. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
No, it's good, because I think how I view this, if I was a bidder, is, are you saying that this square footage is available as, I would call it a play space? That you can utilize, and I guess that's part of the Q&A when bidders come in, is that you've got these, currently you've got all these different city functions that are desperate, in other words, in different locations. What you're trying to do from the Keegan is putting them in locations where there's collaboration, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right.
So I'm looking at it as, well, does this mean all this space may be available for consolidation of the departments? That's what, is that what you're trying to achieve?
Yeah, that is, I think, I think this is kind of like, yeah, I was saying, these are the departments that we described, is that these are the ones that are in the Keegan study, and that should be like, okay, this is the departments that either can consolidate or space-wise, or need to have more space, right? And the physical space that's available for this are exactly what you have here. I think the safety complex, the existing safety complex, as Dan just explained, I think it's fair to keep that in here, and you might want to add a note saying that the fire department is staying.
Okay,
The bulk of the fire
bulk of-
department
okay.
is staying in
Right.
its current location,
got it.
But what
where they've had not enough space.
right.
So they're going to take over some, if not all, of that space. I see.
Exactly. So what if there was a little bit of space left over
I
that
think
could
that's-
say, hey, we could fit somebody here?
And they may or may not. And I guess it's, and I want obviously your opinions on this, this is great information, but how granular do you want to get in the RFP versus at the Q&A sessions?
I think it's fair to give them some ground rules.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
and say that, okay, so the existing safety complex is part of the review, but the fire department, majority of the fire department is staying in that building.
Right.
And so they need to be part of the group
Yeah.
that's interviewed as well.
Yeah,
We have to include the fire department.
And so that's where I would need total number of probably people that we're looking at, and I had that, I think, number of people in the scope, considered in the scope.
oh, there you go, right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So you have to add the fire department.
yeah, so we'll take Parks and Rec out, we'll add fire department. I think that's a good one we can just leave and have Melissa help us with that.
Yeah, I mean, she'll go through all this.
Yeah.
If we've gone wrong someplace, in her judgment, she'll let us know.
Oh, but just on that, you had those services not in scope comprise, you had education, public library, and safety services. Do we need to say education, or I guess that's not gonna hurt, I guess, that it stays there.
okay. And what, I'll just keep police instead of not fire on that. Fire services,
Yeah,
fire, police, I mean.
Under
Okay.
general, I think this, and maybe it's just because I'm down in the weeds here, but under general, I would put town offices. And then bullets under that would be human resource planning, and then pull out public works and make it another organization, and then parks and recreation. That gets to the functions under each particular building.
yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, so you could, yeah,
Or would it be better if I put it in the utilization?
you could.
Maybe that would make it a lot easier because it's a table.
So under the town hall,
You would, yeah,
then list the departments. that are there.
Exactly.
Yeah, under table one.
Yes, yeah, but I need you,
Or town office.
I don't have that institutional
Well,
knowledge. You go
yeah,
there,
so
if your comments.
I'll
but
send some.
And that'd be perfect.
I'll format of things and
Okay,
send it over.
excellent, okay.
But I like that idea, rather than having to go back and forth between
Yeah.
two, is just use table one and scope out table one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with it. I think the more that clarity we can provide in the RFP, there's just less questions they're going to ask.
Yeah.
And so I think it's
All right.
it's good.
I'll try to send you something tomorrow.
All right, that's good. This is what I was hoping that Rob or Chris would be here, but under the number 5, space layout, conceptual planning. We'll analyze options and develop 2 workplace designs. I think there's a step before that. And typically what I've seen is they come up with like a table and a chart kind of outlining each department with space needs. So no changes for tonight. I wanted to have the architects kind of weigh in on that. But so just as there may be an initial step. And part of this where I think you in the proposal, in their proposal they're required to approach. You have the category approach, which I think that will be each firm will say, here's how we will do it and here's what we provide. So I think you also want to keep it open to them so they can be creative.
Exactly, yeah.
And that was it. Those are my comments that I just wanted to bring up here.
Yeah, great, because there are other ones that were specific on vital records. I don't know, if there's space requirements for that. But it was the Keegan study, and it's really where is the town going on the structure.
Yeah, it's a great report.
That is going to be real important. What does the town see in 3 to 5 years as a structure? And I think those are almost like 2 swim lanes going down the same path together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the current select board is very in lockstep on supporting the vision of the Keegan report.
Yeah.
It's great that you consulted that.
Yeah, and that's helpful. And I think also for the consultants to know about the sustainability concerns or, I'd say areas of interest of the city, especially going to the net zero building with the police department and the safety complex. So they have all those little nuggets to work on when they're looking at these things to really know who the client is.
Yep.
Great, I think it's good. So comments from our team and hopefully from Chris and Rob and Alan can get you by Friday.
Okay.
Or Saturday, right, the 30th.
And I'll have a conversation with Nico.
Okay.
Between now and Friday.
And so if the comments do not clarify, I'll note that the yellow highlights still need additional information on, so to speak.
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe in the email you can say the highlight.
Yeah.
The town should be providing employment.
So in timing, what's the next we get this done, what's the next major step after this?
Right now, I'm going to send it to Melissa, but I'll wait for you. And after we say this is an updated version of the draft, I'll share it with Melissa for the town review.
Okay.
So
And then we'll go.
when do you need my collated comments to? I can flip them around really quickly.
Let me ask this question, because the answer may come back, I don't know for sure, but it may come back that they want to wait for Dave to return.
Okay.
Which was, I think he's slated to return sometime in March,
Okay.
tentatively. So let me find out the answer to that.
Okay.
Because that may change the speed with which you have to move.
So let me go ahead and come back. We had talked in the past, roughly, when did we think we wanted to get this issued?
I'd have to go back to the meeting minutes. I think we just talked about, ideally would be is getting somebody on board this spring and whatever the timeline that they thought it would take. And I guess part of the fear is that we have an empty building, whatever it's being used for, the 30 Court Street, is not to have people go ahead and start to lay claim to that space. And
I think the word has gone out.
Okay. I think it was really just to try to get this going so that then we could efficiently use some of the empty space that you have so that it can be, whatever that means. So that is a warrant article that has to come up over the summer into the next fall, if there were renovations or something like that. But yeah, I think it was a spring was to get it out on and
Okay.
so the proposal.
There wasn't a hard date, but
I don't believe
sometime
so.
in the spring, yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds like we got some flexibles, with what you just said, some flexible space in there.
I don't know whether they want to wait for Dave or not, given that he's been very involved in the past on these kinds of on RFPs.
I think when we were talking before, we thought maybe once an RFP goes out, 4 weeks for all these proposals to come in.
Yep.
And then, the process to evaluate and to do that thing, maybe another 4 weeks, so say a 2-month process to select somebody.
Yeah.
So, if it's March, then April, May, so having somebody on board in June.
Yes, sounds
And,
right. Yeah.
What would this take, a couple months to do this? So,
Yeah.
trying to get it done
I
as
think so.
efficiently as possible.
And normally Dave's at this meeting, right?
Yes, yeah.
He's our staff side person, so hopefully that gets restored soon.
Okay, so I would say, whatever time that you need, Carol, to make the updates, but maybe within a
Whatever
week.
comments I get, is there any other comments that you had?
No.
Okay, and you sound like you have some really nice ones to add to us, I'll wait for
I'll get you
yours.
something, yeah.
And then if I hear from anybody else, then I'll incorporate that and turn it around early next week, it's not a
That's
problem.
perfect. Yeah, that's great.
And then I'll get an answer
Yeah,
from Nico on how we proceed from here.
that sounds good. All right, any other comments or questions on that? Okay. New business. So I had put one on the agenda. This was just a question. In the past, we've had the town or Steve Cronin come in and present kind of an update on the facility conditions database. I think it was about a year ago, if I remember right, that he came in and just talked through. I'm not sure, their staff is so lean. I'm not sure they've had a chance to really focus on that.
I would imagine probably not.
Yeah. So I guess that was one thing I was just thinking about. This is that time of year where we hope that updates have been happening to the system and that they would talk to, like, this is the next priorities. But so I don't know if the committee has any interest in that.
I think maybe a phone call to Steve just to say,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
if you could do that.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that.
Yeah,
We
just a
talk-
phone call and say, are you in a position to help? Because we'd like not to skip 1 year and then wait. See,
Right.
So I'm sure there's been progress on some items there.
So you're looking at what's been done since the FCAs have been completed, is that correct?
Yeah, there's that, but also like they should also be updating if they find things that are new.
Makes
Right,
sense.
so it's maintaining the database, so the last thing you want is that you want it to be static and basically a book on the shelf. You want this
Right.
thing to be helpful and used. So I will reach out to Steve and ask if he feels like that they have something to share and what the timeline is of that.
And that also reminds him that that's something that we're looking for from him.
Yeah,
They were
in his
very
maintenance
informative.
department.
routinizes it, yes.
And I did have questions, you saw that on there, whether there'd been any other environmental studies or anything like that, because I noticed on some of the FCAs, because of the age of the building, the asbestos containing tiles and things like that. So if there's any historical environmental reports, those would be beneficial. And the other question I was gonna ask is you're talking about fire suppression systems. And again, my experience is in private industry. Now, when we had our property insurer go through, we would look at the engineering reports when it came to fire suppression systems and things like that, on what we could do to enhance and improve the safety of the building. And a lot looked at the risk potential, whether it was business interruption or property damage. And if you made those changes, then it's one of those things that you go back to the insurer, well, we made these changes. Can you reduce our policy insurance premium?
Yeah.
So I didn't know if engineering reports from whoever your insurer is, to take a look at those as part of, it's just a question out there if you wanted to take a look at them. Is there things that can be done during the FCAs or whatever that, hey, this is simple, it could be just the people portion of it, which is putting in, processes in place versus actual engineering changes. What can be done to augment that?
So I don't know, do you guys have your insurance company your property insurance come through the buildings?
So one of the big drivers of our budget increase this year is both health insurance for our employees and a big jump in our property insurance as well.
Okay.
So your comment catches my attention. Again, we're missing a lot of staff in our maintenance department. and whether we can execute on that given our staff shortage. That's an open question, but it would be a great thing to focus on.
See if the field engineers, because I'm assuming that you have a schedule that they come through, do a walkthrough, and then give their engineering report.
I think that's a good question. I know
Yeah.
on our campus, we do not
Yeah.
have an insurance company do that.
Yeah. Our insurance company is for property is Primex, I think,
Okay.
which is a company that kind of insures municipalities.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know what their practices
Okay,
are.
yeah.
But what you're putting your finger on is definitely a best practice and something that we might set as a goal to work towards if we're not currently doing it.
Doing that, yeah. It was beneficial to, I was at least exposed to that end of it. But we had FM Global as our insurer, the creme de la creme, so to speak, of it.
Yeah, it would make sense for you because you're paying a huge premium.
Exactly.
And they come in and then if they hit you on, well, you need to do this and this is out of, then it's an
Yeah,
incentive for you to take care of it.
yeah, especially if it was business interruption type of thing. But then, once we made some of the changes and there was low hanging fruit on the changes,
Sure.
then it's like, okay, we made these changes, are you gonna make a difference in our premium? So it's negotiation tactic.
Yeah.
I like that. Again, I don't know if that's how it happens. I would suspect probably not. I haven't heard of it in the past, but it'd be a great thing to work towards.
Well, it might be a program that they offer.
Yeah.
And then maybe that they'll come in and do that and then it's a way that you get your premiums down.
Yeah.
Because they do it and then they give you a list.
And they usually give you the cost of implementation too,
Yeah.
and some of it is not costly, so.
And this again is something that would, if Dave were here with us, and hopefully he will be again soon, he might be able to enlighten us on how it works.
That's good, really good question. I think that'd be interesting to know how that process works with the town buildings. Okay, so we have two things. So we talked about the DPW and then I put that down as new business to ignore that question. Anything else, Don?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm all set, Mark.
Yeah,
I'm good.
any other new business?
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Yeah.
Our next meeting, I just looked, is scheduled for February 25th.
2:25.
Yep. Any conflicts or anything, or is that
I might have a conflict that week.
okay? Anybody else? I think it works for me. So I guess,
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I probably will be unable to attend that week.
so we'll get closer. I'll send out and ask for, make sure we get enough people to go, so.
I'm sure you'll have enough.
I have it on my calendar, so.
All right, and so I guess that's it. So I think I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Yes.
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
And we're adjourned.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits